Alright, so recently I saw a post on Reddit about Mercurial Magnum, and there was a comment that showed that not that many people actually... there are some people who struggle with understanding how the Mercurial Magnum works. And then I remembered that someone flamed me in the game for not having enough gun investment before going Magnum. And I also remembered another Reddit post about a cheater and another Yamato in my game that also went all orange and then added Magnum. And it made me think maybe people are just confused with how Magnum works. So let's talk about it, because it's not straightforward. So first we need to talk about how Magnum is built, its QSR, to understand how it works and why we build it. So we imbue this on an ability, right? It's straightforward. You buy it, you can press the keybind, and you will imbue it on your ability. So when you use it, the effect goes... you get the effect. You get 10% fire rate, and all of your bullets are reloaded. So how it works, I'm throwing the bomb, I will deal 157 damage, and reload all of my bullets. And also give me a 10% fire rate. You can see it on the left, above my camera, like 10% fire rate. And the fire rate will wear off. It has the limit, it doesn't say how long it lasts, but it's not infinite. No, it's gone. Now, what happens if I throw it, right? And now I throw the next bomb when it's not fully spun. Does it block the usage? No. So let's see what happens. I throw the bomb. It reloads some bullets and adds some damage. So think of it this way. If I have 10 bullets in a clip, right? And I have Quicksilver reload off cooldown and my bomb deals 102 damage. It will add 55 damage to the bomb and give me, like if I need to reload 10 bullets, like 9 bullets, all of my bullets, right? But if it's spun halfway, it will give me that much, like it's percentage, right? It's the proportion. So if it's spun halfway, it will give me around half extra damage. So instead of 55, it will give me around like 25, 30. And it will give me some bullets, but not all bullets. So they made it so you get the effect even if it's on cooldown. So it's not really a cooldown, it's like a bar that fills in. When the bar is full, then it gives you the full benefit. But when the bar is not full, it gives you portion of the benefit. So you always get the benefit, right? So once again, we throw it, we spend all of our bullets, and now we will deal around 135 when we saw damage. So it's not fully ready. It gives us almost all of the benefit, right? Not all the bullets and not full damage, but some. This is how Quicksilver Reload works. And this was done so you can put it on abilities that you can spam. For example, on Malice, if I rebuy it and put it on Malice, and Malice has a short cooldown, it adds 55 damage to Malice, but then I throw it again, right? And as I shoot, the Malice will keep reloading some bullets into me. You see, every time I shoot, it adds at least 1 or 2 bullets into the chamber, and it adds a little bit of extra damage because Malice by itself is supposed to deal 29, but then there are stacks, so like the math is all fuzzy, but it reloads. That's what the charging thing is. We need this information because Magnum works the same way. For the demonstration, I will put it back onto the Essence Bomb, and I will, again, throw the bomb to give the effect. So let's read what the Magnum does. It says that it gives 40%, but we need to read it from here, 25% base bullet damage, and then the ability, like just like QSR, Quicksilver Reload, it gets 60 extra damage instead of 55. It's the same, and fire rate goes from 10 to 25. That's not the most important part. The most important part is base bullet damage and the reload part, right? That's why we buy Magnum. So Magnum gives us 7 spirit power, max ammo, and also it gives us spirit investment. So for those who never paid attention on this little bar, anytime you buy an item of a color, it fills up the bar and it shows you how much money do you need to spend to give a benefit. Right now it gives us 25 spirit, right? Just from the investment from spending 6,400 souls. In this case, it's 4.8, and the next one is 7.2 or 7.3. So we're not still a year there, but if we buy another expensive item, now we are over the threshold, 7.2, right? So Magnum, even if you buy it by yourself, it goes to 40% because this percentage scales with spirit. So it's never 25% base damage. It's always more. So it sounds like an amazing, like overtuned item in theory, but this is where the whole like thing is hidden. It says base bullet damage. What does base bullet damage mean? So right now I'm Geist that is level 1. I have 21 bullet damage, and when I shoot, I deal 21 damage. This is my base damage. It only goes up from boons, so we need to just talk about boons. So right now, I can hover over boons, it normally will be here, and it says 0 boons, 300 till next boon. So you get boons like when you get souls. In this game, they fuse together your net worth and your levels. So in games, in other MOBAs, like in Dota, for example, you have separate bars, your gold bar and your experience bar. And whenever experience fills up, you get benefits. Not the case in Deadlock. In Deadlock, whenever you get richer, you get stronger. Like a transcendent being from another plane bestows their blessing upon you for getting more and more gold, for getting wealthier, which is basically the Protestant ethics, the video game. All right, so we get gold, we get boons. So we can, in training mode, we can just press level up and get the boons. Anytime we get a level, we get the stats. It says right here, and we get base bullet damage. It says base. It is extremely important. So I will click max level, which is at 32, which you reach at 45,000 souls. It doesn't matter which way you reach 45,000 souls, whether it's cultist sacrifice gives you extra souls, whether it's kills, objectives, doesn't matter. The moment it says 45 under your portrait, you get to your maximum level, 32. Now my health is 2400 instead of 800 that guy starts with, and my bullet damage is, you can see, 49, right? If I go here, it says 48, but it's like it rounds up, it's 48.5 probably or something. It's 49, so I will sometimes 48, sometimes 49. It rounds it up because when you shoot constantly, it will add up in the end. So this is base bullet damage, and Magnum will improve your base bullet damage. Again, I reset Geist, I buy a Magnum, put it on the bomb, and it says 40%. We load it in, and we shoot a bullet. 8 out of 21 is close to 80%. But if I press max level, now the percentage goes up. Now you can see 56. It's very small, but it's 56 instead of 40, because when you get boons, you get spirit. So I got 32 spirit for free, and it scales the base, and now it's more than half. So if I load it again, and I shoot, half. 48, the half from 48 is 24, and it deals 27 because 56%, a bit more than half. So every bullet deals half the damage as extra spirit damage in addition. And this is where people start getting confused, because you get max levels and it says 56%. So they just buy a lot of orange items, like, I don't know, and they think that it would still be half the damage, but look what happens. It's not even half. The damage actually didn't move at all. It's the same 27 damage, but my bullet damage went up. So what happens? What happens is that your base bullet damage goes up with levels, and that's it. Any other source of bullet damage does not apply. Let's say you get the urns. I'll have to get lucky with the urns. And the urns give you weapon. They can give you weapon damage. The urns or the sinner sacrifice, there it is, 4% weapon damage. So as you like, we remember the damage was 47%. Right now it says 50, so each bullet deals 50, but Magnum still deals 27. Our weapon damage, you can see on the left, it's 4% weapon damage buff, 4% weapon damage, but the Magnum doesn't care because it's not base. The base bullet, it doesn't even say here. It says base 53. It's misleading, I know. But our base is 21. We go max level. It's 49, 48, 49. This is base. Nothing else affects base. So as you saw that the urns and the buffs, the permanent buffs, don't affect base. The weapons, let's say, there are green items that give weapon damage, right? Inhibitor, I think Colossus, and what was it? Not Spellbreaker, not Phantom Strike. So we just got 0 orange investment, but we got 45% weapon damage. And we obviously get Magnum back. Put it on the bomb again, just for the sake of the demonstration. And we throw the bomb to load it in. And now see what happens. We deal 70 damage, but only 29 of it is Magnum. It's not 27, like we just saw, because something gives me Spirit Power, like Phantom Strike gives me Spirit Power. So the percentage went from 56 to 60. So Spirit Power affects Magnum's damage, but weapon damage does not affect Magnum damage. So again, I'm shooting for the same 29-30, so very low, but the weapon damage goes up. So weapon damage from the text that says plus 15% weapon damage does not affect Magnum. The buffs you pick up do not affect Magnum. The Spirit does, but the weapon damage doesn't. And most importantly, orange investment does not affect Magnum. Let's buy orange items that don't give damage. Let's Silencer and Shadow Weave without activating. It says plus 58% weapon damage. You can see here. And we'll load the Magnum again, and you will see it deals 76 bullet again, because we got a lot of weapon damage, but it doesn't improve the Magnum damage. The Magnum damage stays at 28. 27, 28, the same amount. So, when do we buy Magnum? We don't buy Magnum when we want to buy build orange, or at least if we want to build orange for like Glass Cannon, or Hollow Point, or Weighted Shots, or anything that gives weapon damage, because weapon damage is useless. I mean, it's not useless, you still improve your weapon damage, but your Magnum doesn't scale. And Magnum scales like crazy, but it scales with this tab. It scales with Spirit. I buy Boundless, and now see what happens. My weapon damage stays the same, but now my Magnum damage matches my bullet damage, because Magnum is now 90%. 90% of my bullet damage goes into Magnum. 48 for bullet, 44 for Magnum. And this is how we build hybrid. So we will shoot, and the damage will have decent bullet damage just from the base damage, right, from the boons. But the Magnum will double it and more than double it as Spirit damage. So Magnum is really good on characters who want Boundless, and the prime example would be Wraith, obviously. And then it loves Spirit from other sources. So we buy Magnum not on characters that want gun. So if, for example, we swap to, let's say, Drifter, that wants just to build gun from the base guide, we don't buy Magnum here to slap on another theoretical 25%. Right? We buy Magnum, we put it on something, and we expect it to do like 44% extra damage, right? So 78 per shot, that's a lot. So Magnum is supposed to be to do almost half of that. So you think, oh, actually, yeah, we max level on Drifter. It's extremely important that in the training mode, do not forget to press max level when you test builds. It is extremely important. That's another source of misunderstanding with Magnum. Right now it says 60%, so I should. It deals 133. You would think, okay, so the Magnum should deal 120, half of that 60 to 70 damage. Nope. Magnum deals 25. Right? It's base damage, and all of those items affect non-base part of the weapon damage. So Magnum isn't just a flat increase of your DPS. Magnum is an item reserved for those who want to buy Boundless, and for those who want to get, for example, utility of Escalating, utility of Refresher, utility of Spirit Burn, of Vortex Web, of whatever it is, and it will scale your damage. So characters who like the purple tab, like Magnum. Characters who stay away from the purple tab, like the Plague, they do not want Magnum. This is a bad, this is 6.4k souls to get 25 damage to your shots, and it doesn't scale with anything. And more importantly, we now, as Drifter, invested into Bullet Shred. That's why it deals so much damage. And we now need a separate type of Shred, which, for example, Crippling Headshot does, right? It does. But it's not just straight up upgrade into the damage. We again buy everything that is recommended, and we'll need an extra slot. We buy Magnum. We press max level. Do not forget to press max level. And then, as we can see, it's 25 damage to 141. It's not worth it. If you ran out of orange items to buy to give you damage, you even bought glass cannon and you bought lucky shot, then just ask yourself, do you need that much damage? Maybe you need utility, maybe you need survivability, maybe you need counter items. I made a whole guide about it. Maybe you need armors, something, right? Don't just build all damage. This is not Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. It's not just your job to just stand somewhere in the back and shoot. It's also your job to fight in the middle of the enemy team, and they will try to focus you, they will try to CC you, and there are solutions to that. There are like your Unstoppable, your Counter Spell, your Debuff Remover, Debuff Reducer, Siphon Bullets, your armors, your Escalating Resilience, etc. So if you're all orange, don't go Magnum. Just keep going orange. It's that simple. So let's go back to characters that actually like Magnum, right? So we again max level Wraith. We buy the standard Wraith things, and we level up the same thing. So when we throw a card, then every bullet we shoot deals 6 damage as Magnum. It's not that much because right now I have a lot of orange investment just from, you know, Fleetfoot and Tesla, and Leech also gives. But if we add Boundless, just Boundless, and again, just in case we throw another card to refresh it because it's training mode, and we shoot, it's 11 out of 50. Like, and Wraith really loves Boundless. Not only does it scale your teleportation barrier, so like I'm at 2.3, but if I teleport, I have 600 extra health, and in late game, I have only 20-second cooldown on that. And most importantly, all of the Wraith's damage come from full auto, right? Because if I don't have Magnum buff, I will need to spend all... Oh, you're gonna just reload. I don't have Magnum buff right now, but if I just press this, you see I already deal 17 damage as Spirit per shot with 15 regular damage because of how full auto works, and it scales with Spirit. It now says 17 Spirit damage per bullet, and it starts with like 5 because it scales with Spirit. So Wraith really likes Spirit, and also cards deal more damage. In the early game it's 55 damage, now it's 284 a pop. So right now, if again just full auto, it's 17, but if we add them together, it's 28 per shot. That's insane amount of damage. That's where we buy Magnum, right? This is where the Wraith DPS comes from. What can we do to scale Magnum further? So there are 2 things you can do. One, like outside of buying more Spirit, and as we saw that Boundless, it's just all you need basically. Any other Spirit investment is nice, but like Escalating, for example, but it will be less for Spirit investment, more for utility, right? We'll throw a card, it will go from what it was to 13, but now it also stacks Escalating, for example. I don't buy Escalating on Wraith lately, but... So, Wraith is an actual true hybrid. She is dealing more or less equal part Spirit and bullet damage, which makes it much harder to build against her. For example, just bullet armor won't work because you do a lot of Spirit, but just Spirit armor won't work either, right? Because she doesn't put all her eggs in one basket. So we can scale Spirit with attack speed, obviously. The best attack speed item, spy rate item in the game is Spellslinger, because it gives 60 at full stacks, and would you look at that? Wraiths like gets those 6 stacks extremely quickly. And we're at full stacks, and also it reloads quickly, right? And if the final and last and most important way to scale Magnum is the shred. Right now, I don't shred the resistances at all, and since I love like items that benefit both bullet and Spirit, I buy Crippling, and my DPS goes to 2000. You can scale the build further. So for example, like Escalating or like Ambush from Shadow Weave will scale the build further, but honestly, this amount of DPS is more than enough. Like those 5 damage items on Wraith, don't buy more. Just buy defenses. Like Wraith, for example, needs Escalating and like both armors, and then quite often you need either Unstoppable or Counter Spell or like Debuff Reducer. So, and this is at 56,000 souls, right? Don't put all of your items into DPS, even though you're a DPS character, by some, and with only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items we get to 1600 DPS, and then just by, that's just PSA, just by defenses. So who is the prime candidate for Magnum? It's Wraith, obviously, but if you want to build Magnum and experiment with the builds, I'm not gonna go like about meta. In meta speaking, it's Wraith and maybe some and Warden, I guess, and that's it. But we're not talking about meta. We're talking about, like, if you want to experiment with the build, because this part of the game is a lot of fun, who will benefit from Magnum. So make sure your character loves Boundless, has a spammable ability, and you can make sure that every bullet you shoot is infused with Magnum. That's how it works. If there are any more questions, please ask me in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.